Let me kind of go backwards first to Rice. I can't start without thanking all the fans that showed up, and especially the band being there. What a difference it made. Never once did I feel like we were really in an away game environment. And when we got off the bus and the band was there and playing our fight song when we walked into the stadium, I just thought they did a great job, and they really made a huge difference. So I want to thank the band, the cheerleaders, the fans that all were able to come to the game, because they definitely made a difference for us as a football team. And then, David Bailiff, who I have great respect for as a friend, as a competitive coach. I know he's going through a lot of injuries right now, but I think he's got a really good football team, and we feel very honored to have had the opportunity to go on the road and win. It's never easy to win on the road, a conference game, but the weather held off, and we were able to get out on the field and get done what we got to get done. And, I look at it as a football team right now. I think we're getting better. I think we played hard. I think probably the thing that I was most impressed with was we really played smart. We played really intelligent football when you go back and you watch this game. And when you look at a game that your team really wants to win, sometimes it's all about just playing hard. And boy, I really thought they played smart, and I think that we've made some strides as this year has gone on in some of the decisions that we're making and some of the things that we're doing. I thought with the holding Rice to a limited number of big plays, some of the big plays we created, the red zone, I thought was really productive for us. Our third down was probably one of our best on the season. The kicking game I thought was really solid. I'll talk a little bit about again, but I just thought this team really, they followed the plan that we always talk about and what it takes to win, and I thought they did an excellent job. Defensively, Kentrell Brice was our MVP defensively. I thought he played a great game, probably one of his best games so far this year. I think the senior leadership back there is really standing up, and they're doing some very good things in the back end. I know that we only gave up 2 big plays, I think, for 60 yards and no touchdowns, but I thought they really did a nice job for a team that's been average in scoring over 30 points a game to hold them really to 10 points until the final drive when our 2s went in. I thought our defense really played a good football game. One of the questions was asked about the quarterback scrambling. I think he was able to scramble, or he scrambled so much because our secondary did such a great job, but there was nowhere to throw the ball. I think you've got a seasoned quarterback back there that's a veteran that isn't going to put the ball in danger, which he did not. He was going to put the ball under his arm and run with it before he threw it up for grabs. And once he pulled that ball down, he started looking for holes. He's a great athlete, and he started running around, but we were willing to live with that, his scramble yards, and that's what sometimes good quarterbacks are going to get against you. But I thought the defense really played well. I really liked the way Bryce and Abraham played. I think Xavier Woods, Kentrell Brice are doing some really good things. Nick Thomason, both feet, I think probably played one of their most complete games. The 2 of them. C.J. Cleveland is just doing everything right. I think Vernon Butler really played a great game. Jalen Ferguson continues to show up. I thought it was probably our best team defensive game. There's not one guy you could say, wow, he had all these tackles and he had these interceptions, and there wasn't a great stat game for any one guy. But boy, when you looked at that film, guys are doing their job. They're where they're supposed to be. They're giving up their individuality. It's not about I got to make the play, but I got to do my job in the defense. And I was really proud to see the way that our defense played. Like I said, I thought it was one of our most complete games on defense that we've played so far this year. I would say the same thing offensively. A lot of positive things in this game. We had 0 turnovers. We were 4 for 4 for touchdowns in the red zone. We were 50% on third down, and probably even better than that. I got greedy on a 3rd and 1 and took a deep shot, which probably wasn't a very smart call. But I thought the way the players executed, the way they were focused, the way they were dialed in, the way they executed, I thought really did a nice job. I thought the difference in this game was the way we started. We came out and we scored 14 points on our first 2 drives, and then at the beginning of the 3rd quarter, we took the opening drive and went down and scored. And there was 21 points, and then when you look at the way they finished each half, we got a score right there with a couple minutes to go, got the ball back, And then again, I thought Jeff and the offense orchestrated a great 2-minute drive to go down the field and put another touchdown on the boards. And then to finish the game, again, something that we've had problems with the last couple of years is being able to run the ball when everybody in the stadium knows you're going to run it. And to be able to get another onside kick, I think it went through McKnight's hands, and then Marcus Gaines had it, and somebody cut his legs out, and he did a flip, and then Adarius Barnes did a great job of getting over there to it, or Jared Kraft did a great job of getting over there to it. I just think a lot of positive things going on right now on offense. And after we got the ball, we were able to run out the 4-minute drive and finish out the game, which is something we've done a couple times this year. But I thought the difference in that game was really the way we started and finished each half. I was really proud of the way that the offense played and some of the things they did. Up front, it was probably, again, one of our better games, even though Jeff got hit, I think, twice and took a couple sacks. I thought one of them was on him. I thought our offensive line played probably one of its better games. I thought Darryl Brown, Jens Danielson, I think David Mahaffey definitely played his best game inside at center, and Josh Robinson's doing a lot of good things. And so I thought they played, and then the obvious thing when you look at the numbers, Kenneth rushed for just under 100 yards. Carlos went over 100. Trent went over 100. And Jeff threw for 320, I think is what it was. But just some great individual efforts from some of our skill players on offense. And then special teams, I think it was our best game on special teams. We set up 3 scores. We had a kickoff return with Carlos Henderson that went past the 50 and set up a score. We had 2 punts where we downed them inside the 12-yard line. Defense was able to get a stop. They had to punt the ball. We got another positive field position. I just think there's a lot of good things in this game, especially when you're playing a team as quality as Rice with the things that they do, and going down there and for a place where we've never won in a conference game on the road. Really proud of the way this football team played. I go back and talk about some unsung heroes that probably people don't know a lot of names of guys like Cooper and Kraft and Russell Ferris and Brandon Derman, Aaron Robertson, Trey Spencer. I'm sure I'm probably leaving some guys out here. DeJohn Oliver. I mean, just a lot of guys really stepping up and playing as a role of that dirty dozen. What we talk about, your starters on special teams today are going to be your leaders of tomorrow. And those are going to be some guys that are going to have some opportunities moving forward to really make a dent in this program. So it was a great win. Proud of these players, proud of what they were able to do, the way they went out and played, just the togetherness and the unselfish attitude that they have right now. So you get that win, you come home, and you get ready for your next conference game. We're excited to come home, excited to play homecoming here in front of our home crowd, and we've got North Texas. And I know what we've got to do is we've got to stay focused, and we've got to find a way to go 1-0 this week. This is a football team that I know everybody from the outside looks at their record and goes, oh, well, you know, they're 1-7. The other 1-7 team in our league, UTSA, is a team we had to kick a field goal against on the last play of the game to beat on the road. And they just beat UTSA. I think UTSA is one of the better defensive lines in this league, and yet North Texas found a way to have 2 guys rush for over 100 yards. I know a lot of guys on this staff. Mike Canales, the acting head coach, I've known for a long time. I have great respect for him as an offensive mind, an offensive coordinator, and a quarterback coach. I think he does a great job. Chris Kosh, their defensive coordinator, and I have coached together on 2 different stints. I have great respect for him. Kevin Patrick, their defensive line coach, and I coached together at South Florida, and then both Mike Grant and Mike Simmons, their wide receiver and offensive line coach, I've known for a very long time. They're all really good coaches. This is a really well-coached football team, and I say that I'm not trying to build up a sleeping giant, but I do think that they have done a great job, and since some of the changes have been made 3 games ago, I think you're really starting to see a different North Texas team, and I think those guys have done a great job of keeping all the oars in the water and keeping everybody in the boat and making sure that that thing continues to go forward, and I think they've really done a nice job. When I look at them on offense, they hadn't scored 30 points all year. They've scored at 2 of the last 3 games, 28 and 30 points in 2 of their last 3 games. I think they're getting better. We alluded they They made some changes to the offense. They changed their quarterback. They have a very athletic quarterback, much more athletic. Well, he is the most athletic quarterback that we've played to date. He started 3 games. He's rushed for over 100 yards in 2 of the 3 games. He's a really dynamic football player with the ball under his arm. And then they have a tailback who I think is 3rd or 4th in the conference, rushing for over 100 yards a game. This football team's 2nd in our league in rushing right now, and they're doing it with a 2-headed monster and a quarterback and a running back, and really doing some good things. I think their wide receiver, Carlos Harris, had 70 catches last year. He has 48 catches so far on this season. A very dynamic football player, and their offensive line is big, and they're really playing well together right now when you look at the holes that they're opening. They are really doing a good job. Defensively, they've made a lot of changes in that they are very multiple at this point. They are running 4 down, 3 down, a stack front, an odd front. I mean, they give you a lot of different looks. They've changed their coverages up, completely different. We took our cut-ups from last year and threw them all out because they're really running something completely different. They don't look anything like they did a year ago as a defense, and they are being much more multiple at this point. Their safeties are very involved with the running game. Both their safeties are their leading tacklers. They're downhill. They're a physical bunch in how they play. They've got really good speed at corner, and I think they're playing really, really hard right now. There's a strong buy-in factor that you can really see with this football team. They've also made some changes in their special team. They've put a new returner back there as a punt returner, and Trey Johnson. He is averaging over 11 yards a try as a punt returner. Very explosive, very dynamic. He's been back there the last couple weeks, and they have a punter that is not just on the Ray Guy watch list, but he's a nominee. Has 10 kicks over 50 yards, averaging 44 yards a punt. This is not, everybody wants to look at their record and think this is going to be a cakewalk. We don't have that luxury. We're watching the film. We know we're preparing to play a really good football team that's going to come in here with a chip on their shoulder, looking to have an opportunity to kind of put a feather in their cap with this season. And I think this staff is really doing a nice job of really keeping this thing together in the way that they're playing right now. So we just got to be prepared and get focused and go through our routine and what we do every week, and we got to find a way to go 1-0, and that's the goal we have this week. Well, I think that, definitely having a guy rush the passer makes a difference. And, with I think Dora played probably one of his better games, although statistically he wasn't all over the stat sheet. I think he's really playing solid. And to be able to put somebody with Jalen's athletic ability and skill set on the other side, he is really making a huge impact right now. And you look at his numbers, I think he's leading us in sacks, and he started 3 or 4 games at this point. Really just, he's disruptive. He doesn't always do what he's supposed to do. Sometimes he's kind of ready, fire, aim. But at the same point in time, when he's going, he gets there in a hurry, and he's got a long, rangy body that can make a lot of plays. And he's really, really playing well for a redshirt freshman right now. He's making a huge impact on the defense. Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes maybe when things are not going the way you want them to, players are looking to embrace something that's new, something that's different, something that changes, and not always a bad thing. And I think right now the change that they've made, I think Mike Canales and Chris Kosh as the 2 coordinators have really done a great job of holding that thing together, because when you have change like that in the middle of the year, it can go one of 2 ways. It's either going to tear you apart or pull you closer together. And I am seeing a football team right now that's playing with a whole new passion, a whole new energy, that is playing with a whole new confidence. They've got they've changed some personnel. They've changed some things that they're doing schematically, and the players have really bought in that those changes are helping them. And right now, you're seeing it in their attitude and the way that they're playing right now.
You send that clip of Carlos's shot that he took to the conference?
I did not. When you look at it, you have to identify a defenseless player. A defenseless player is not someone considered right now that's running the ball. It was a helmet-to-helmet contact, but he was a runner. He never saw him. It came out of a blind side, but a defenseless player is deemed as someone that is going up for the ball or looking downfield, but the defenseless player part of it is the part. I thought it was it was a legal hit. I thought it was a legal hit in the way that he came in. He didn't lead with the crown of the helmet or spear or one of those type of things. It was a good hard hit. Yeah, right now it's a sprain. It's a sprain, and so we're going to have to wait and see how he's going to respond to that. But I would think, on the bad side, you were looking at a 9-month ACL rehab situation, which is the thing we were really concerned about on the field. But with the MRIs, it's a sprain, bruise of a number of the different ligaments in the knee that's going to be a couple weeks. I think you can take these stats and throw them out the window a little bit in this game, because you're looking at a team that for the first 6 games, they gave up some really lopsided numbers. When you look at some of the games that they played, and I think it really skews the statistics. What we've done as a staff is kind of really broken it down over the last 3 games. And in the last 3 games, when you look at it, they played, arguably 2 of the best teams on the other side when they played Marshall and Western Kentucky. And then this week against UTSA. And you look at it, they got beat by, it was about 25 points, then 17 points, and then won a close game against UTSA. And I think that confidence with them is building with the new staff. So what we have really done is we've broken it down since the staff changed, the quarterback changed, the new punt returner, the new scheme on defense. It doesn't even do you a lot of good to watch some of the film from early in the season. You really have film from the last 3 games that you're really looking at, and that's what we're looking at statistically and also from a film breakdown standpoint, because I do think there is enough of a difference that the first 6 games really don't matter.
Where does your linebacker depth stand now for the next couple of weeks going forward?
One less. One less than we had coming into it. I don't know yet who will start. We're going to have to move the pawns around a little bit and put the pieces together and find out the best combination. You got the guys that have played a backup role with it, because now that Mims is out, and also now that Nick is out right now, who will start there? I don't know. Brandon Dermott will be in the race. Russell Ferris will be in it. Washington will be in it. There'll be a number of guys there. We may move Bo into middle and move one of those guys. Maybe it's Russell up at will. We don't know exactly yet. We haven't had a chance to really be out on the field yet to see where we are. And we'll have to put the game plan together and the best thing that we can do to try and attack them and find out where we want to put the new face on defense. We're hoping. We're hoping. Again, we'll practice Tuesday, and I'll know a little bit more about that. Last week, when we talked to him early in the week, like on Sunday, Monday, he felt like it was far enough away that he would not be. This week, he feels really good that he will be. But until I see him go out there and run, I don't know yet. Yeah, you can move him to the will. With having a Cleveland, him or Cleveland to will, if he's back, that would definitely give you an opportunity to maybe look at that. And also, with him being out, Washington was our second Sam, and Washington could even go over to will as well. So those are the things that we've got to look at right now and figure out what's the best way for us to put the pieces together. Well, we've been fortunate that we've been able to have the same lineup now really since the first game. A lot was talked about 8 games ago. We had to move Mahaffey to center, as your 4th center. We had to move him to center and start O'Shea Dugas, and I don't know that was the way we really wanted to go into the opening conference game of the year with Western Kentucky, but that's what we had. Well, since then, we've been able to have that same starting lineup. Those same guys have been able to play, and I even think a couple guys like McCready is getting better. I think Shane Carpenter is better than he was then. I think the consistency and them really having the opportunity to gel and start to play together. An offensive line has to play together like they're all attached at the hip, and that they all have to move in unison together in one direction. When we first put Mahaffey in, it was like we were 5 guys moving in 5 different directions, and somebody trying to identify the front and make all the calls to be the bell cow for us, and yet it was his first game he'd ever played the position. So I look at where we were 8 weeks ago to where we are now. We're a much better offensive line than we were 8 weeks ago, and I think everybody's starting to really come together a little bit.
You mentioned today and then Saturday about the senior leadership and the word that stuck out last year when you talked about the team. How does this year's senior leadership compare to last year's?
I can't say enough positive things about this group, and I say that. You look on defense, and I believe there's 9 seniors over there on that side of the ball with, I think we have 8 senior starters and then Tyler Porter right now. And just the way those guys are leading, the focus that they have coming in each and every week. We've talked about to be where we are right now, that being picked to win the West, you knew every game you were going to play. You had a target on your chest. You were going to get everybody's best shot. Everybody was going to be geared up. Can't turn it over in this game. Got to have a plan for this. Don't throw the ball up. And I think these guys have really been focused and dialed in. They're getting better. They come to work every day. I just think they have a real blue-collar mindset and work ethic. I think there's great character in this group right now, and I think there's great focus in this group right now. I think we had some really good players a year ago, but I think the group that we have now is a much more focused leadership than we had a year ago. I've really been impressed with this group of seniors and the job they've done, really kind of getting this program to this point in the season, and they want to be good. And we haven't, a year ago we went into 2 games really that we were favored in that should have won. Went in, did not play our best football, where I think with this year's team we have gone in with a really focused mindset each and every week, and I think that they are determined from some of the lessons that we learned a year ago not to let those things happen to us this year.
How did that progression go? Because I remember, I think it was last March, you were heading into spring ball, and that was one of the things you were, I don't want to say concerned, but you were interested in seeing who were going to step up as leaders and how that was going to progress and everything.
I've used the expression a bunch that every football team has a life expectancy of 1 year. And next year will be completely different than this year. We have different talents. We have different leaders. When a guy is a sophomore and a junior and all of a sudden the guys ahead of him leave, how is he going to be as a vocal leader, as a role model leader? How is he going to be involved in trying to help influence the young guys to come along and develop? And I think all those are the things that you look at. And we try and do an awful lot here to develop leadership. It's something that starts for us in January with a new team, with our leadership council. We will vote on a new leadership council. I meet with the leadership council, and it is a group of young men that this team votes on by position, that who they want to represent their position group. And that leadership council has a voice in a lot of things that we do. And we try and really bring the leadership along on this football team, and these guys have really responded to it. But I said to my wife that when we were talking about I've had a lot of really good football teams, and to be around this group of seniors and leaders and upperclassmen, this is one of my more favorite football teams that I've ever had the opportunity to work with.
You're in the broadcast, TV broadcast, they were talking about how you and Baylor were a really good friend, and last year he wouldn't return your call.
Yeah.
Have you returned your call yet?
We talked after the game. A little bit, and just before the game, we just said, let's agree to get together in the off season and talk. So, let's agree to that. We made that handshake before the game started, but David was great, and he said, you've got a really good football team. We knew we were going to have to play really well if we wanted to win, and we didn't play as well as we needed to. He said, but you have a really good team. He was really impressed with Jeff Driscoll, and just it's not just Jeff's height, weight, size, and everything. It's the way he handles himself, his demeanor, his decision-making ability, and the way that he handles himself on the field. He's got a composure that not many quarterbacks have.
Talk about Jeff. Before the season started, I'm sure you got some phone calls from around the country from some coaches about Jeff Driscoll. Has he lived up to what you thought he could be?
Yes, and even more. And I don't know that I really put stipulations on, I think he can be this. I knew Jeff was highly recruited. I knew Jeff was very talented. I never went back. I have never watched a Florida film. I don't know what they were teaching them. I don't know what the goods and bads and pros and cons were there. I knew he was coming in. He had all the measurables. He had height, weight, speed, athleticism, throw the ball, hit the target, put it in the barrel, whatever it was. I mean, that he was very talented. What I didn't know and what I said I was really excited to see was how was he going to process. How was his decision making? How was his ability to read defenses? How was his ability to lead? Is this a team that's going to get behind him and follow him? Is he going to come in and be arrogant and turn everybody off? Or is he going to come in and be very humble and have this team embrace him? And those are questions that you can't answer until he gets here. So I think probably more than saying I've been impressed or not impressed or living up to or not, I would just say that I think he has done an unbelievable job of coming in here. And I have been very impressed with what he's been able to do. I haven't really found his weakness yet. I don't know what his problem was other places that he's been, but I know he has all the measurables. I think what he has done as a leader here is one of the more impressive things that I have seen. For a young man to come in here in March, and in August the team votes him one of the captains, and the way that they follow him, the vocal leader that he is. When he talks, everybody listens. He's very positive. He's very humble. I've been impressed with the way he's read defenses. I've been impressed with the way he's protected the ball, with his decision-making ability. Probably have been as impressed with his poise in the pocket and his calmness when he comes off the field after a series. I mean, he just took 3 shots standing in the pocket, and he comes off. And I said, okay, on the one, what did you see? We talked about the one that he read for his first touchdown in this game. And so, like, all right, what'd you see? He said, I came back, the safety was way on the backside. I was going to take the shot down the middle, and then I saw him out of the corner of my eye coming in. So it's like you're in a film room. He's just talking as plain as he can be. And I can't tell you how impressed I've been with the tools that he has, the way he handles himself, and the professional that he has been since he has been here, and coming in here and learning the game plan and taking it and making the most of it. I have really been impressed with what Jeff has brought. I can't. Steve Adazio from Boston College said, Skip, you may not only have the best quarterback in college football for next year, you may have one of the best football players in college football next year. He said, he had him when he was at Florida. Very impressed. Brian White was there, rant and raved about him. I said, oh my gosh, I mean, you will absolutely love him. He will do great things there. Because I was trying to, what's wrong? You know, what's broke? What am I missing? I mean, what's damaged? But everybody just rant and raved, and anybody that has worked with him had nothing but incredibly positive things to say. And as much as we talk about his skill set and the way he's handled himself, as a person, he's better than that. I mean, as a person, just as a young man, a character, the way that he's bought into this team, the way he handles himself, he's really impressive. You know, he is, even when he came here, he never said a negative word about Florida. When I talked to him about it, he said, Coach, it's time for a change. It's time for a change. I'm very grateful to Florida for the opportunity they gave me, my experiences here. There's great people at Florida. I enjoyed my stay here. It's just time for a change. And believe me, as somebody that's been in a very toxic situation, I understand sometimes when it gets that way, how it's hard. It gets in that downward spiral and you can't stop it. And the social wave goes against you, and it's a very hard wave to change. And like he said, I just need a change. And like I said, I know the feeling. I've been there. I've experienced that. I understand it. It doesn't make him a bad person or a bad quarterback or anything else because of some of the heat that he took from Florida. But he has never, to this day, ever said anything but positive things and the love that he has for that program at the University of Florida. And he would be the last person to ever say, see, you know what I mean? He's not one he's not trying to prove everybody else right or wrong. He's answering to himself, and I think he's very comfortable who he is, as he should be, because I'm really impressed with who he is and what he's become. We talked a little bit about the redemption stuff with you and Manny last year. Maybe Louisiana we're the land of misfit toys. You know, we're the land of misfit toys, and there's one man's trash is another man's treasure. You know, and right now we are a group of people that still believe in ourselves, that came in here and believe in this school, and work hard every day just to do what we're trying to get done. And like I said, I was really impressed with Manny and the job he did, and I think in our athletic society today, we are quick to jump onto a social bandwagon and throw somebody under the bus in a hurry. And I look at a guy like Jeff Driscoll and to think that he was contemplating not playing college football anymore, that he was contemplating, now that I have my degree, just going out into the real world and not playing. And what a shame for a young man with that character, with those values and that skill set, to have that feeling. And that's not what this game is all about, the opportunity for young men to have an opportunity to experience it. And so if we became his second home or second opportunity, he has certainly made the most of it, and I'm glad he's here.
I remember reading when he was coming here some of the stuff, and it was like really R-rated, just about his future, you know, as a quarterback. And now it's crazy the position he's in now. How much do you think he's helped his status going forward in terms of professional NFL level? As a guy who was probably completely off the radar 6 months ago, 8 months, 9 months ago, now the present day, he's obviously helped himself.
He has obviously helped himself, and he has. And I think as every, the expectations sometimes are very hard to overcome. And when you come in as the number one rated quarterback, I think people expect, I think it was his first or second year, he goes 11-2. It's like, oh, wow, we built on that. Now we're going to be undefeated. And things didn't go that way. And people have to blame somebody. And he took a big brunt of that, and I thought he shouldered it incredibly strong for a 19 to 20-year-old young man for some of the criticism that he received. He came here, and he has worked hard and said, I'm going to be as good as I can be, and I'm not worried what everybody on the outside world thinks. And I think right now, I don't know where his draft status was a year ago because I didn't look at all that, but I listened to the pro scouts that come through here now. I definitely think he's going to have his opportunity to get into camp and show what he can do in a professional environment.
Lost in the shuffle of Friday's game was the fact that despite some escapes by driving Jacksonville, held the rush to only 101 rushing yards. You mentioned that they're a pretty good rushing team, be able to do that much, and then what Vernon Miller has been to that group to stop it.
We came in, I said that's the number one rushing offense against the number one rushing defense going into the game, and something's going to give. And it did, but it wasn't that front seven. And I think when you talk about that front seven, Vernon Butler has been a huge part of that, obviously, as the man in the middle. But I tell you what, when you start talking about Dora, the way that Jalen Ferguson has come along, the way Aaron Brown's playing, Bo Feet and Nick Thomason are two linebackers that never started until this year as two seniors, and yet I think are just playing their tails off right now. I mean, C.J. Cleveland, again, was a walk-on here that didn't have another scholarship offer and is part of that front seven that's doing a great job in the way that they're playing. And all he does is does his job. He's one of those guys that it's not about, do I got to make the tackle? It's where do I fit and how do I do it? And I think that front seven works the way it is right now because of the unselfish attitude and the way everybody is doing their job, and not just 7 guys running around up front trying to make a tackle, but they fill every gap. And that's why you go back and look at the rushing yards of the tailback, and you take the scrambles out, which are very, very difficult. But I think the scrambles, to me, are also a positive because there was nobody to throw the ball to downfield because of the coverage zones that everybody was getting into. And so I think there were a lot of positives in that game, but definitely I thought our front seven, they stood strong. They'll have quite a test this week as well with, like I said, a quarterback and a tailback both rushed for over 100 yards last week. And they've done it a number of times. Well, the quarterback's done it 2 out of 3, and like I said, the tailback has done it a number of times this year. And they will have a heck of a challenge, and we're going to have to really play. We're going to have to play well up front.
Vernon got a chance to wear number 27 because of some equipment issues. Any chance you can line him up at fullback or something in the backfield?
That would be nice, but I can't afford to lose him in that role right now. He's too valuable in the role that he's playing for us. Yeah, he was wearing number 9, but pretty hard to rip a jersey off today. pretty hard when you look at the material of those things. And for him to have his jersey ripped off is why he had to change to number 27. I don't think he was real excited about it, but I do not believe they had a holding call in the game.
Anything else?
Thank you all. I appreciate it.